Shut up and sit down.
Hello and welcome back to Around the Nati. We've dusted the mics off after a long time, and
we're back and back. Better than ever.
We say that every time, and I guarantee.
And it's true every time.
We're probably the same. We're probably the same. We're not worse, but we're not better either, though.
Hey, listen, I think that I can get about 3 drinks better during this entire episode. So.
That's kind of slow. That's an hour.
Life in moderation, Gamble. Life in moderation.
When have you ever lived in moderation?
Well, based on my my BMI index, it would not indicate very much.
That's right.
Speaking of which, hey, you know what? Today, I'll bring it up later. Let's hop right into it, guys.
All right, well. Go ahead. Tell them what we got on the docket today.
So first of all, we have to absolutely give a shout out to our University of Cincinnati Bearcats on a undefeated 2020 regular season AAC Conference champions, first time under the Luke Fickell era, the coveted AAC championship, outright champions. They deserve it. We've been close the last couple of years. Obviously Fick has really put this program in a great place. And so shout out to all those guys over there. I definitely want to give a shout out to our friend Big M, who is on that strength and conditioning staff there. We love the stuff that they're putting out there. Great program. Super proud to be from Cincinnati, and I'm really glad I'm not from Norwood and able to actually celebrate this win. So that's awesome. But that brings us to our next point, okay, which is college football worse off with the playoff versus BCS?
Yeah, I mean, that's a good question. And it's definitely a pertinent question after the disrespect that we received from the committee recently. Obviously, this is one of the best Bearcats teams of all time. It's definitely in the argument with the 09 team. Depending on whichever team that you like to look at, there's definitely some slight thrown at the Bearcats this year, and I don't know if you can question that. This year was as good as any to get in.
Well, and I think you bring up another topic, which I think would be good for another show sometime when we have a dead week to talk about comparing this team to the 09 team. But here's my thing. Here's why I argue, and we can talk about specifically the UC implications, which kind of are tied in anyways. But my biggest thing is, think about what makes college football great. What draws people to college football? Okay. To answer that question, let's examine some other sports. In college basketball, what do we love about college basketball? Well, we love March Madness. Why? Because of the unpredictableness. Everyone has a shot. The little guy doesn't matter. Supposedly, the way it was sold was that this college football playoff would actually give non-Power 5, the non-Blue Bloods, an opportunity to play for a coveted college football championship. Okay? And that kind of brings back to, what do we love? What have we always loved about college football? That every game matters. Lose one, even under BCS. Lose one, win one, but only win by 3.
Yeah.
And you're out. Mm-hmm. Every game mattered. But now we're taking that element away from college football. It's no longer every game matters. As a matter of fact, it doesn't matter if you play 3 games or 5 games. It doesn't matter if you lose in your conference championship game. It doesn't
play a conference championship game.
Right. They've now taken away what has always made college football and set it apart from every other sport, and as a fan makes it so exciting to watch week in and week out. and then now have said, we know before the season starts, within 5 teams, maybe 6, who's going to be in the college football playoff. Doesn't matter if they lose 3 games. Doesn't matter if they only play 6 games. It doesn't matter. We have decided already, based on who we believe is the most talented, who's going to play in the college football playoff.
Yeah.
And my thing is that's fine, but just come out and say, hey, group of 5 schools, you're never going to get to play in the college football playoff. It's a Power 5 invitational, and regardless of what you accomplish, what you do everything that we ask you to do. Win your conference outright, win the conference championship game, be undefeated. We're going to just move the goal line for you. And that's fine. If you tell me that as a UC fan going into the season, you have no shot of being in the college football playoff, okay. But don't come back here and say Iowa State, based on what they've done, is better than you. Don't come back and say Oklahoma is better than you. Don't come back and say that Florida is better than you. A&M is better than you. Without having that head-to-head matchup, it's impossible to say. So we should revert back to what has always been the most important thing, which is, what have you done? You've gone undefeated. You have 3 top 25 wins, and you are the conference champion.
Yeah, I mean, and
apparently it doesn't matter.
That's a big thing. Is like, I mean, you look at it and you go, if there was any season that it was going to happen, it was going to be this season, which was unlike anything we've seen. Teams aren't playing all their games. Some conferences aren't even playing at all. And it's definitely a season of being unpredictable. So you look at it and you go, well, what does UC have to do to get in? And I don't think there's an answer that is sufficient enough to get them in. They won all their games. I think they were blowouts for 7 of their games. They blew the team out. Like you said, that they have wins against top 25 teams. They win their conference. Obviously, it's not an impressive win. It wasn't anything that blew my balls off. But it's a win. And I just don't know what more they could do to get into there. That's within their means. And it's similar to UCF, but also it's not, because I think a lot of teams are knocked out of that in the beginning because of COVID. So it's like, you look at it and you go, this is definitely a year that they should and can get in. Because to be honest with you, talking about it as it's an invitational, like you said, I've always looked at it as a fact that if all the teams are playing, I don't think UC is going to get even close. Because I don't think they have the capability or the means to build a resume that's impressive enough for the committee.
And I'll even move the conversation to, I think that they probably got the top 4 teams right. They probably did. I think that you can make an argument for Notre Dame not being able to make it because they just got the doors blown off by Clemson when they actually have their starting quarterback. I think that it's fair to make the argument that Ohio State only played 6 games, so should they really be considered a top 4 team based on that? I think those are fair, but I think at the end of the day, they probably got the top 4 right. What really makes me upset is that, again, you have an A&M team who has lost the game, didn't even get to play in their – to Bama, in fairness, but didn't even get to play in their conference championship game. Mm-hmm. You have OU, who has 2 losses.
Yeah.
In a Big 12 conference, that's a joke. And you have a Florida team with 3 losses.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
Ahead of
I can.
That's where I get upset. How can you? How? What else are you supposed to do? Even just to be in the conversation.
Yeah. That's what
upsets me. And you know what? So then fine. You don't want them in the playoff. Fine, I get it. Whatever. Then I would argue probably A&M is the next most deserving team to get in.
Mm-hmm.
And since they're left out as well, then let us play A&M. And don't hand me it'd be a blowout. It doesn't. No, have you watched the college football playoffs the last 3 seasons?
Yeah, that's
How
true.
many of those games have been? How many of those games have been blowouts? I can tell you, I loved watching Ohio State getting their shit kicked in. Loved it.
They didn't get their shit kicked in. That was a close game.
Last year, but I'm saying
Yeah.
against Clemson like 2 years ago.
Oh,
I loved watching Oklahoma get blown out by Joey Buckets, man.
yeah.
Okay, like I loved it. Loved it. Great television. So sit here and say that they get blown out by. I don't care. I don't care. The goal line has continually been moved. To your point, it's a non-conversation, but also understand that the amount of disrespect should be absolutely infuriating for UC fan. And Mo Egger said on the show today, he said you can do one of two things. You can either be upset that they didn't get into the top four, or you could be happy on an historic season. I'm both. Ecstatic that we won the conference championship. That's a great feat. That is awesome. I would take it 1,000 times over, a Tuberville era team. But
The governor?
I don't know.
You mean the governor?
I don't know how. Or is it governor? Is he senator? What is he? I don't even know.
I think he's a senator.
But how can you be a fan, a legitimate and true fan, and not be absolutely perturbed by this?
Yeah, I mean, it's mind-boggling, and it's, it leads me to ask the question, like, what's the remedy? Other than saying, hey, we need to fix how teams are ranked. I don't know if that's a viable solution. So, we can sit here and we can complain all we want. We can be like, hey, these rankings aren't fair, yada, yada, yada. But, what's a viable solution so that teams don't... I mean, teams are always going to have this feeling, because even if you expand or whatever, there's going to be teams that are on the fringe that don't make it, and they're going to be pissed.
Oh, I don't care if we had if it was the college football was expanded to 8 teams, we would still be excluded this year. It would be, even though they have us ranked 8, I 100% believe that UGA, Georgia, would have jumped us had there been an 8-team playoff this year.
Well, then what's your proposed solution? Because we can sit here and mope and complain all we want, but what can we do?
Well, at this point, I'd say the BCS is more fair.
Because it's computerized?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, because at least there's some objective measure to which you can actually put together something. I mean, we made it to a bowl game against Florida, and we're 2 games away in 2009 to making a national championship game. If I forget who it was A&M and someone else. If they would have lost that year, that last weekend, we would have been in the national championship.
Yeah. I mean,
at least it's achievable. Like we've now been told it's not achievable.
Yeah, but we talk about BCS, like we think about it, like I don't know. I kind of like the tournament setting. I wonder if they could do a combined mixture of that. You know what I mean? The tournament setting plus the computerized aspect of it.
Well, and the other thing that cracks me up is people will always talk about like, oh, we can't expand because it's going to interfere with finals and their students first. What are we doing right now? What is happening right now? Finals.
Yeah.
Right now, today. We're going to be playing on New Year's Day. College football games. You know what I mean? I just don't hand me that stuff. There's times where UC plays on a Tuesday night. You know what I mean? During mid-fall semester.
Oh,
don't hand me that.
I'm aware. Yeah. And since when has the NCAA ever cared about its students? Its student athletes? Like
only to the effect of making sure that they don't have to pay them.
Yeah.
I think it's interesting. I think that, and maybe it's already happened, legislation in the NCAA is going to, if they haven't, I think they either voted on it and now are going to allow, or there's a strong sentiment that they're going to start allowing name, image, and likeness to be something that players profit off of.
I mean, the schools are already selling the jerseys anyways.
Well, and so I think that it would be really conducive to a school like Cincinnati, who has some national attention, has been made and be like, hey, you can go play for Clemson, Alabama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, and just be another awesome guy, or you can come to UC and be the guy. You know what I mean? And market. I think that's really going to help out schools like us. And I think that in doing so, I think that you would be able to help influence a college football playoff, for example. Because let's not be facetious here. A lot of it's driven by money, right? The reality is that Clemson, Alabama, Notre Dame, Clemson, Alabama, OSU, and Notre Dame are going to bring in a lot more viewers than Cincinnati would. That's just the reality. It's fair. It is what it is. It is what it is. But if you have, a correlative like Zion Williamson, but at UC, maybe that pushes them to say, hey, people want to watch this kid play.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So, I know it's a little bit off of the hinges of what the conversation was about, but I think that is something that could kind of be the great equalizer in terms of at least gaining more pool inside that room of 13 people who decide who are going to be in the college football playoff. So I think that's something to look out for and would be interesting. I
think ultimately they're not going to have a chance until they either leave the conference or choose. I think they have to leave the conference.
And what do you do though? I mean, you can't go independent. The Big 12, the ACC, they've already said they don't want you. I don't know what you do. And I tell you what, John Brannon's not helping us. Basketball's the next big mover. He's not helping us right now.
That team looks bad.
Yeah. And again, that's a conversation for a different time. But good God, I don't know. Those are my thoughts on the college football playoff. And at the end of the day, I want to leave on this note. Okay, the American dream, right? For all my conservative listeners out there, they're going to love this. The American dream is built upon the American dream is built upon that you can go from nothing to having it all. If you just work real hard and stick it out, you're going to make it. It's the American dream. If that's the case, we're going off that mindset, which I'll play along for this instance. Then the college football playoff are communists, because they've now said that Cincinnati, the Great American, Cincinnati is the Great American. The Great American has worked exorbitantly hard, has accomplished everything that they needed to overcome obstacles, adversity. They've gone from the bottom, and now they're at the top. And they still said, nope, you can't have it. We're going to redistribute the wealth to those that we want. Communist. Mark it down. College football playoff committee, communist.
That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard in my life.
Fact.
That's the stupidest thing. That was the worst analogy ever.
Fact. Look at the halo, but look at the light shining upon me.
I know, it's been blinding it's drowning out your face.
That's probably for the best.
I would agree.
But you know what's funny? I was at Price Chili the other day. Hey, thanks. You're welcome for the plug. I was at Price Chili the other day, and I was talking, right? And the ladies that were this is actually months ago, I should say, because this is before COVID. But we're sitting in a crowded waiting room lobby. The hostess, she's an older lady. She's like, "Oh, I just love your voice. You have you should be on radio. You have such a radio voice." And I was like, "Oh, thanks." Some old fucker walks by and he goes, "He sure doesn't have a face for TV though," and just kept walking, absolutely in stride. And then you could tell that it was true, because the lady rubbed my arm. She's like, "Oh, sweetie, you're very handsome." And I was like, God damn it. So, but anyways, that was awesome. I really appreciated that. That was great.
Well,
But
before we cap off this segment, like all in all, we can be pissed about them not making the playoffs or even being in the conversation. However, what an exciting year to watch some Bearcats football. Like,
it was awesome.
I can't express enough how happy I am that Fickle is the head coach of University of Cincinnati Bearcats. Like, it's
And it looks like he's gonna be there for at least the next 4 years. His son just committed to play.
Awesome.
Yeah,
It's awesome.
I mean, it's awesome. And the coolest thing for me too is like we went from under Tuberville. I think the most Ohio kids we ever had in one recruiting class was like 2.
Mm-hmm.
And in this recruiting class alone, we have 9 kids. I think on the team we have 48 or 49 kids altogether that are from Ohio. It's a homegrown grassroots program. UC is the Great American.
Yeah.
The only regret I have is that you and I couldn't catch a game this year at Nippert.
Yeah, it's a bummer.
Yeah. I really hate COVID. I can't wait till we can get back in and get down there for a game.
Yeah. So we're gonna. You feel good capping it off there? Like we've put our positions out. You think so? You brought out a terrible analogy about communism and the American dream.
Well, I feel as though that every great show we've ever done has had some terrible analogy that I usually get made fun of for.
Yeah,
so
I gotta call you out on them because if I just let you do them, then you just go wild and then we never learn. Like somebody's got to check you, because if I don't, then nobody will.
Well, if you check me, I might have to just wreck me. I don't know. That didn't work out well. But anyways, let's talk a little Bengals, man. It's Monday Night Football tonight, so we're recording on Monday night. Bengals play the Steelers, and I don't know about you, but I mean, this reminds me of in 2015, Bengals take on the Steelers, playoff football. My anxiety's high. I'm excited. I can't wait, but not because I think that we're going to win. No. My anxiety is high because if I torture myself and watch 3.5 hours of Ryan Finley looking like complete dog shit, who we traded up for to get, by the way, and we win somehow, and we move back in the draft, I'm so upset. The most mad, the most angry, and I'm just done about it. So let's talk a little Bengals football here.
Okay, I mean, I think it's highly unlikely that we beat the Steelers. I mean, they've won 11 straight.
They find a way to ruin everything I love.
They continue to be our Achilles heel. They're just Big Brother. Like there's no nice way to put it. They're the measuring stick, and they will continue to be the measuring stick until we finally continue or can find a way to have sustained success against them, and we just haven't found a way to do that. So I mean, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned that we're gonna win. I have zero fear that we're gonna beat them.
Assuming we continue to lose, it looks like we'll probably be left with the number 3 pick in the draft.
Mm-hmm.
What do we do there? Do we trade? What do we do there?
Well, it depends. It depends on a couple of things. So, yesterday we saw the Jets get their first win of the season, which is hilarious.
The Rams can't win 3 games in a row. They win 2, lose 1. Win 2, lose 1. It's hilarious.
It's so funny to me that they get the dub yesterday. They get 1 win and they lose the number 1 pick. I guess it's strength of schedule. Is that what it is?
Strength of schedule, yeah. So Jacksonville had a stronger schedule, so they get the first pick. Yeah.
So they lose that first pick, which we know is going to be Trevor Lawrence. It's going to be. It has to be. It's a steep drop off from Trevor Lawrence to Justin Fields. I just don't. I
think so too. A lot of people disagree. We have a lot of suck guys that are going to jump in here and talk about how great Justin Fields is. So I don't know.
It's such a steep drop off. It's like
I agree.
It's really a big cliff. I don't think
it's Andrew Luck to RG3.
Yeah,
it really is
for sure. It's like it's not even close. Like Trevor Lawrence is so much better. I don't know. It depends on what, because I know Jacksonville's going to take him if they stay number one. Like, that's just it. Now the big question is whether or not the Jets want to take a quarterback after Trevor Lawrence is gone. It wouldn't surprise me. It wouldn't surprise me if they did. That franchise is so poorly run. Anything could be a surprise.
And we know about poorly run NFL franchises. Let me tell you,
we do. But I think theirs is worse than ours. I
have no idea. I think without Marvin Lewis, I think that you're wrong. But I think because of Marvin Lewis, you're right. Who ever thought I would say that, right?
Well, they hired Adam Gase, and he's still there. So,
it's terrible.
But I could also see him going. I could also see him going O-line. And with that, Penei Sewell might be gone. They have entered the sweepstake of doing that, and there's a lot of theories out there whether we should trade back or whatever. And I could see either one being viable. We have a ton of holes outside of O-line. I think AJ Green's gone after this season. Unless he wants to sign some team-friendly deal, I think he's gone. And
from an organizational standpoint, that's the right move. The right move. I honestly could see them. I could see them paying him money he doesn't deserve, but that's the correct move. AJ Green serves the Bengals no purpose at this point. AJ Green making anywhere around what he's making now, which is $18 million per year, that serves us no good. My favorite Bengal of all time, Geno Atkins.
He's
serves us no purpose at this point. Serves us none.
Well, he was injured. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt.
He was not good. He was not good last year, though, either.
He was pretty good last year.
He got voted for the Pro Bowl, and he said he was surprised because he played so poorly. He was not very good last year. And it'll take us to our next point, too. I kind of want to make an addendum to the – sorry, I didn't put this in the pre-show. I didn't talk about it. But I want to talk about Zach Taylor's future a little bit. But I think that it says something. I think the best coaches, the best organizations, the best coaching staff, I think that the thing that they do the best is they get the most from the least and the best from their best. And I think that after seeing Carlos Dunlap leave and go completely turn around the Seattle Seahawks defense,
I knew that was going to happen.
And part of that is effort. Part of that is effort on his part, no doubt about it. But effort is something that you can elicit. Great coaches, great organizations elicit the best effort. They get the most from the least and the best from the best. And I think that, and it's not all Zach Taylor, but since probably 2017, so that included a little bit of Marvin Lewis era as well, we have not gotten the best from our best, and we certainly haven't gotten the most from our least. And when I'm referring to that, I think about the linebackers we've drafted, the Jermaine Pratts, the Logan Wilsons of the world. I think about the.
You don't like Logan Wilson?
Pro Football Focus shows that he's not been great, and it's not that I don't like him. I
like him. I don't know what.
Well, hear me out. Hear me out. I said he hasn't played great. I didn't say I didn't like him.
Okay,
Carlos Dunlap played like.
I think he's played really well.
Carlos Dunlap played like shit, but he's still really good.
No, I think you're misconstruing what I'm saying. I think he's played well this season.
He only plays a third of the snaps a game.
Okay, and I think
he barely plays.
I think he's been a factor. I think he's been a factor.
If he's that good, then why isn't he ever down? Why isn't he out there every down? To your point, maybe he's that great. Maybe he is very good. I wouldn't know because he doesn't fucking play.
I mean,
And
he's
I think
played
it's a
enough to
coaching
make an
staff
impact
problem.
in games.
He's hard. You don't draft someone anywhere between rounds 1 and 4 and have them play less than a third of your snaps.
He's young.
That is terrible. Organizationally,
I think you're
from a
overreacting on
coaching
him.
standpoint. I'm telling you, my point is that this organization, this coaching staff, has been terrible. And looping it back into the draft, they've been terrible at 1, evaluating talent, 2, developing the talent that they draft, and 3, signing contracts that make sense for them organizationally. It's been a shit show for years. For years, we've missed. We have John Ross, who's making a fair amount of money on a rookie contract as a first rounder, hasn't been rostered in how many weeks? We have Geno Atkins taking up a huge amount of salary cap space. We were paying half of Carlos Dunlap's contract this season. He didn't even fucking play for us hardly. We have AJ Green, who caught his first touchdown in 3 years last week.
No, he caught
Like,
one
come on.
before that.
Come on.
Yeah, no, to be honest with you, I don't think this last draft was that bad. I think most of them were pretty straightforward.
The kids don't play. The kids don't play. I wouldn't know.
What are you talking about?
The only reason Adeneji's played is because of injury. He wouldn't have played
Adeneji's a
otherwise.
7th round pick, homie.
I know. And he's probably played the most of anyone we drafted.
That's not true. T. Higgins, he's played more than T. Higgins.
Okay. So your second round pick has played a lot. Awesome. As it should be. As it should be.
I think you're being overdramatic on our draft. I think this last draft was a very respectable draft. I think you got a lot of good value out of it. I think
So do I.
You just said it was a terrible draft. So which one is it?
No. I said they've been terrible at developing the talent that they've drafted.
You said they have a bad job of evaluating talent and developing it. I mean,
I think
this
that's true.
This last draft, was it not a good evaluation of talent?
This last draft was the best they've done.
It was a very good draft.
And they still have failed to take and optimize that talent that they drafted.
I would agree. I'm just saying. I just want you to concede that this was a good draft. This last draft was a good draft.
I'll concede this.
Good. Then I agree with everything else. I'm just saying this last draft was good. I think we got some good pieces on the defense. T. Higgins is going to be the future of the receiving core. We got our quarterback of the future. Like, I think a lot was accomplished in this draft that you're not giving credit for. So I just wanted to point that out.
Under Joe Burrow's rookie contract, which is really the only time you can really compete in the NFL. Mm-hmm. Under his rookie contract, do we compete for a division title?
I think it.
Do we win a division title?
I think it depends on what the team does this offseason, or the organization rather does this offseason. My belief is you have to move on from Zach Taylor. I don't know if we necessarily have time for patience. I know that Mike Brown is a fan of continuity, but I just don't think Zach Taylor has it in him. I think he's put his faith in garbage assistant coaches. I think the only assistant coach worth his salt is Callahan. I think Jim Turner sucks. I think Anarumo sucks. And to be honest with you, I think Zach Taylor's a horrible game manager. That's just my opinion. You don't lose as many close games as he has, and turn that around. I mean, the guy's won 4 games in 2 years. Granted, our team has been dog shit. Frankly, I don't care that our team's been dog shit. He's had 2 years. I mean, I don't think we have time for patience. Like you said, our window started this year.
I think that it's been made clear that great coaching can get you at least 500 in this league.
Yep.
I.e., look at Brian Flores, look at Bill Belichick. Shit, even Vic Fangio, his team's competitive, and they have no one on offense. No one. For years in Minnesota, they're winning strictly off defense. Part of the problem to your point is that they hired Zach Taylor, who has no coaching tree, no coaching network. he just hired the fucking washed up misfits off that 2015 Miami Dolphins team to come in and be his staff. And part of that was their fault because they hired him so damn late in the process.
Mm-hmm.
And then on top of that, he never really called plays before other than at UC.
Yeah.
And by the way, that offense was terrible.
Yeah, it was.
Terrible.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a joke. It's a joke. And you know what? I'm so sick and tired of – I also said the same thing about Jerry Jones. And at least the Cowboys, like, stay relevant because of their brand.
Mm-hmm.
But you need to hire a football person and let the football people make the football decisions. Katie Blackburn and Mike Brown, they have no business, none, making any football decisions. There is no reason in hell that a coach have to come in on Monday morning and sit and watch film with Katie Blackburn and say, hey, this is what we're doing wrong, man. If we do this, do we fix this? No way in hell.
Yeah.
You know what you do? You get on the phone, you call Louis Riddick. You say, hey, we're looking at someone to take over football operations. Are you interested in interviewing? Okay. No? Awesome. You go and look for the next. Take great football minds and put them in to make great football decisions.
Yeah.
For you and your you know who the best presidents have been in the United States? The best presidents in the United States history have been those who have put the smartest and best people in their cabinet around them.
Mm-hmm.
Be a great president. Be a great president of your football operations, of your football organization. Put the best football minds in charge of your organization. Make them people who are consistent, who are driven, and who make great decisions.
Yeah.
Consistent, driven, great decisions. Consistent, driven, great decisions. I think that Zach Taylor is very driven. I think he was very hungry. He's not consistent. He sure as hell isn't consistent. And it's obvious that he makes poor decisions, i.e. benching your team, the only team leader out there who hasn't fumbled in 4 years, benching him after one fumble, benching Carlos Dunlap, who is probably your most talented player on defense.
Yeah.
And then trading him for a used condom.
Well, to be fair, I don't think he's the most talented, or at least not this season. But no, I get your point, and it's hard. It's hard to be a Bengals fan right now. Like, I think I don't think Mike Brown cares. Like, people talk shit about him all of the time. They talk shit about him more than probably anybody in football, and he doesn't care. He doesn't respond. Like, there's no indication that he cares at all. Like, it's exhausting.
I tell you what, I am a true fan through and through. I would never say, I'm no longer a fan, blah, blah, blah. I think I've been through as much as you can go through as a Bengals fan. Maybe not, because I didn't live through the entire 90s. But I have never been closer to that than watching Joe Burrow get hurt behind an offensive line that's been shit since 2016.
Yeah.
Absolute shit since 2016.
Mm-hmm.
That was the most angry I've ever been as a Bengals fan in my entire life.
I mean,
more angry than in 2015 when we lost to the Steelers and an epic meltdown.
I mean,
more angry
it's just
than
that. It was like watching it happen in slow motion the whole season. We all knew it was happening. We all knew it was going to happen.
Yeah.
And granted, there's not much you can do for the O-line mid-season, but you have to say, hey, we're drafting.
4 seasons they've been terrible.
No, I get it. No, that's what I was just about to say. Is I'm like, even like going into this season, like you know that you're gonna draft your franchise. You know that, and you did nothing to address it. Oh wait, no, you did. You signed Bobby Hart to a 3-year deal. It's like, is so stupid. It's
Well, hey, Jim Turner says if you watch the film, it's obvious that Bobby
we're
Hart's not the
watching,
problem.
Jim. We're watching, Jim. I just watched Joe Burrow get his knee put into a 90-degree angle.
And Bobby Hart fucking sitting there rubbing his nipples like an idiot.
Yeah, he's such a jackass. Jim Turner is such a jackass. It's like that whole coaching staff. I think I don't know. It's just I think at the very least he's got to go find new position coaches. Like I thought it was so stupid.
Zach Taylor's got to go. He's lost the locker room. He's absolutely lost that locker room. There's no order. It's complete chaos in there, and that's not all his fault. It's not. Zach Taylor shouldn't. It's not that he should never have a job again. It's not that he should never be given a chance to call plays in the NFL. But he is not ready. He's not fit to handle this organization. The person that is a person who has fortitude, has experience, and has a vision.
Where do you go?
And Zach Taylor, I'm gonna be honest with you. I watch closely what happens with Zimmer in Minnesota.
Yeah.
I watch that very closely. I give calls to and this is going to sound crazy, but I give calls to people like Mike Shanahan, even if it's not as a coach, as a front office member. I give calls to Louis Riddick as a front office member. I even look at programs at the college ranks and our coaches there who have had success at multiple programs, people that know how to build a locker room. To be honest with you, my confidence in picking coaches has waned a little bit because I was really high on Mike McCarthy prior to watching him in Dallas. I was really high on Bruce Arians prior to him being in Tampa Bay. And I would be like Bruce Arians. I think is a really good coach. I think that him and Tom Brady. I think Bruce Arians needs to have a quarterback that isn't the GOAT. Is what needs to happen.
Have a quarterback that can sling the ball too, because he throws the ball so much.
Yeah, and he runs complete spread. But yeah, I mean that's where those are the places I look. And honestly, I don't know that a first-time head coach is going to be the guy that's going to solve your problems. I just don't.
That's really stupid, especially when a team is like about to start rebuilding. That's so stupid.
You need someone who's been there and done that before.
Yeah.
Honestly, I wouldn't even. I mean, you went from one train wreck to the next, but oh shit, what's his name? Who's the DC in Tampa Bay right now? He was the head coach for the Jets before that, and then he was Bruce Arians' DC in Arizona. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles, I think, could be a great head coach.
No.
Yeah, I think he could. I do.
Come on.
I do. I think the Bengals are probably the wrong organization for him because again, you need someone that can handle the train wreck that is the Bengals organization.
And he didn't handle the Jets well at all.
I disagree. They were at least winning 68 games every year. And look at them the year he left.
Is that your goal? Terrible. 6 to 8 games every year? That's your goal?
He had Ryan Fitzpatrick as his quarterback.
Okay.
And no talent. Name me one receiver on that entire team, on any of those teams.
Yeah, he's also in the AFC.
Name me one offensive lineman that played for him. Mangold left before he got there. Go ahead.
How am I going to name a Jet from early 2000s?
3 years ago?
Is it 3 years ago?
Yeah, Gase has only been there for 2 seasons.
How am I supposed to name a Jets? I don't follow it.
Name a receiver.
I don't know.
You play fantasy football. You can't.
I'm not drafting Jets players.
That's my point, though. You can't. But the defense won them some games. Is my point. And to be honest with you, I think that you need someone who has a coaching tree. You know what I mean? You need someone who's got a great coaching tree that can bring. You know who I give a call to? in all sincerity, and he would never take the job. But you know who I give a call to? Herm Edwards.
Yeah, he's no.
It gives me chills thinking about it. I give a call to Herm Edwards. Think about the guys he's been able to bring to Arizona.
He'd bring Marvin back.
Listen, Marvin as strictly as a defensive coordinator, not in desperation mode where he's dropping Geno Atkins back in coverage every play.
He doesn't want to be a DC.
Here's my thing. He's a DC right now. He's co-DC for Arizona.
He's doing that as a stopgap. Well, he's actually not a DC. I think he's a special advisor to Herm Edwards.
He was. No, it was his first season there. And now he's co-defensive coordinator with Antonio Pierce. I'm a big Arizona State football fan.
Really? Why?
Because I like Herm Edwards a lot, man.
Oh.
I really like Herm Edwards. But anyways, I can tell that we're rambling on about this now because we're going into pretty deep into the depths of the coaching tree here. Do you have a suggestion for coaches before we and then we can kind of close things up?
My thing is I don't think we get to be picky here because it's not a very desirable job. Realistically, the only leverage we have is Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow, yep.
I mean that's it. I think we have to go a young coach, which I don't know if it's the greatest thing on planet Earth, but you know there's got to be one out there, you know, that can.
You could be enemy.
Here's what bothers me about him is I don't know how involved he is in the play calling, you know?
I don't think you hire him as the play caller. That's the biggest mistake we made was hiring a first-time head coach to also be the play caller.
He's going to want to call plays. He's going to try and be Andy Reid. Like it's what it's going to be. That's how it works, you know? And
I actually if you're not Sean Payton, I'm trying to think of if you're not Sean Payton, I hate that. I hate
Andy
that.
Reid calling his own plays?
I think that caught up with him in Philadelphia.
What? He's
Yes.
killing it in Kansas City right now. What are you talking about?
He has Patrick Mahomes and the most talented offensive weapons I've ever seen in my life.
What does it matter? They put 50
I could
points
call
on
plays
everybody.
for Kansas City.
No, you can't.
Yes, I could.
No, you can't.
Yes, I could. Watch this. Hey, Patrick, we're going 3 wide, left.
Tyreek, run a fade.
Make something happen on 2.
Whatever. Yeah, well, you know,
Spider wide to banana, baby. Spider wide to banana.
Yeah, I just don't think we get to pick. To be honest, out of all the ones you said, I think the one that's most likely is Zim coming back if he gets canned.
I don't think they're gonna can him. I don't.
I wouldn't hate him.
I think he's a very good coach.
I like him a lot.
I love Mike Zimmer. He really embodies for me what Cincinnati's about. You know what I mean? That's one of the reasons. That is really my only big complaint about John Brandon is he doesn't get Cincinnati. You know, he's not that blue collar, I'm gonna punch you in the fucking mouth kind of guy. You know,
what, like Mick Cronin?
Mick Cronin as short man syndrome as much as he had, like he got it. He got it. You know, Mike Zimmer gets it. Even Marvin Lewis to a certain extent got it. Like, say what you want about those teams. Those teams were usually pretty tough, and at least have one guy on there where you're like, that guy's an asshole. You know what I mean? And really, I think that was the biggest complaint about Marvin's teams early on was that they were always getting in trouble because they're just some mean motherfuckers. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where I want someone that embodies the idea of Cincinnati, someone that can actually, you know, handle a dysfunctional, can win in spite of a dysfunctional organization, and someone that just does shit that makes sense, man. You know what I mean? Put players around Joe Burrow, play good complementary football on the defensive side of the football, run the fucking ball, please, and not because you have to, because Ryan Finley can't throw for 5 yards, like, you know. So don't bench your number one leader on your team.
Mm-hmm.
You know, those kinds of things. Those are the things I'm looking for in a coach, and I feel like that's very, very achievable.
I agree. Now, whether or not that's going to happen is yet to be seen this offseason. It's definitely going to be an exciting one. I think that's really a good place to cap it. Don't you agree?
Yeah, I want to shift. I do want to shift gears here a little bit for a second. And we didn't talk about this before, but obviously, the reason why I do this podcast is because I love sports. I love sharing sports with my friends and people that I love. And I just want to give a quick shout out on Thanksgiving this year. I lost my grandfather to COVID, and he was one of the people that definitely inspired my love for sports. Um, especially, I mean, like the Reds, it's something that we always got, but the bond over together. And he was one of the first ever season ticket holders to the Bengals. He's one of the first like 1,000 season ticket holders. We sat and we watched Smarty's last game together in person and listened to him call the game. And so I just want to say that for me, this episode is a memory of him, and it's been different to experience sports without him. I got to talk to him one last time before he passed away, and the first thing we talked about, or the first thing I said to him was that, God damn it, they fucked Joe Burrow, Grandpa. They fucked him up, and I know if he could have responded at that point, he was ventilated. But I know if he could respond, he would have been like, those sons of a bitches. So, anyways, this episode's for my grandpa, and Cincinnati lost a really good fan. So.
Absolutely.
Anyways,
Love you.
Sorry,
Buddy.
I'll send it over to you, Andrew.
I love you, buddy. Well, I guess, I don't really want to, take away from that. So, I've been Andrew.
And this is Logan, and we'll catch you around the Natty.
Shut up and sit down.